I don't really know what I'm doing. That's what I think to myself often nowadays. I don't know if I'm happy or if the choices I make best represent me and what I want. Do I love my job? Do I love my hobbies? Am I happy being in a different country to my home? What about my friends? Do I have the best support system around me? Do their values sit well with mine? What about my life? What do I value? Is it money, things, freedom, love, family in all shapes and form? Or is it time? Time that keeps passing me by as I figure out if where I am, what I'm choosing to do, and who I'm choosing to spend my life with aligns with what I want and what I value in life. My name is Ridwani. I'm 28, turning 29 this year, Malaysian by birth and by heart, and living in Australia. I would consider myself to be a generally optimistic person, but lately I don't feel that way. Lately, I've been very up and down. Some days I wake up on the right side of the bed and I'm optimistic and energetic. Some days I wake up on the wrong side of the bed and I'm cynical and jaded for the whole day. And some days I don't even want to get out of bed. The COVID-19 pandemic shook us all. It's affected the lives of everyone in so many different ways. Some people have lost their jobs, some people have lost their loved ones, their financial stability and security, and their freedom. Everyone has lost their normalcy and livelihood. This pandemic has robbed us of 2 years of our lives. It's put a pause on plans to travel, to get married, to get a house, to get a new job. It's robbed us of a safe space where we can just be, without the angst of being. The rise of social media has led us to see the highlight reel of those around us. Those of us who are privileged enough to travel during these times, privileged to live in a stable society, be with their families, get married or have financial stability to take risks or get a new job. Comparison is the root of all of our unhappiness. But it's hard not to when the comparison is right there, allowing us to measure ourselves in milestones that we have yet to meet. Do we have a house? Are we married? Are we in a stable and fulfilling job? There are so many expectations put on us as we enter our 20s that tell us that we're meant to set the foundation for the rest of our lives. And while some may seem like they have it completely figured out, some of us don't. I've been thinking for a while now that I have been feeling and facing an existential crisis. I'm always questioning where I am, what I'm doing, who I'm choosing to spend my time with, and if I'm doing that wisely. Society puts a lot of pressure on our 20s being the time that we figure things out, that we can experiment to figure out what it is that we want. But what if we get to the end of our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on, and we still don't feel like we've got everything figured out? What do we do? One of the things I've started doing that has really helped me when I'm feeling lost is to decide who it is that I spend my energy on. Imagine that your energy is currency. If you save it, you have a lot more for yourself. If you spend it frivolously, you end up with nothing at all. But if you choose to invest it wisely with people that make you feel good about yourself, who encourage your growth and self-development, it ends up being an investment that serves you not only for your time, but also your well-being and self-progression. Do activities because you enjoy the process, not because you're chasing results. Even as children and in university, you're told to get an A or get a high distinction. Systems of education and work is tied around the output you produce rather than the learning process and enjoyment that you get out of it. We often tie productivity to hours spent slaving away at a job or at school, crunching numbers and typing up reports for the sake of getting it done. Instead, enjoy the process. Laugh at your mistakes, have fun in learning, and remember that happiness through doing is more important than doing for completion. Do what feels right for you. If you read articles online about how to deal with your existential crisis, a lot of them will tell you that your 20s is a time for experimenting, that this is a time to take risks and make the big leap and move to a new country or start a new job. We have just spent 2 years in a pandemic. We're allowed to sometimes choose the safer option for now, the one that gives us stability. There is a time to take risks and there is a time to be safe. The right decisions for us may sometimes lead us down difficult paths. So when you decide to take big risks, make sure it feels right for you and not for anyone else. Care less for what other people think. Throughout our lives, we will come up against friends, relatives, people we don't even know who's going to ask us questions about what job we have, whether we have a significant other, when we're planning to have kids or buy a house. And the older I get, the more I see just how much people don't realize the impact of their words and their questions, and that we shouldn't define ourselves by the measurements of success that someone else has laid out for us. Success and happiness for me is going to look different for you. Find joy in the little things. When we're not feeling great, our skies can permanently look gray and we start defining ourselves by the bigger moments. An engagement, a new job offer, a promotion, a house, or a wedding. We put so much emphasis on the bigger moments that we forget that the little moments matter too. The mindful, smaller moments of happiness. A good cup of tea, a good breeze, a good time spent with good friends, or a beautiful sunset. Little moments make up the majority of our lives. We shouldn't only have big moments to define our happiness with. Practice gratitude for what you have and how far you've made it. If you're anything like me, you're often the most self-critical person you know. We beat ourselves down for not reaching our goals or where we thought we'd be in life. If it wasn't for this pandemic, I probably would have been married by now. Would have traveled to more countries, maybe even have a house or a kid by now. This pandemic has taken away opportunities and stability, and we sometimes will punish ourselves for that. Remember that you have made it as far as you have, and there is always balance in this world. With hardship comes ease. I may not be able to travel or see my family or friends at home right this moment, but I thank God every day that I make plans to talk to them several times a week. And while it may not be the same and there are days where I'm frustrated that I can't see them, I remember that I've made it this far and I will see them soon. Where we are right now will get us to where we need to be. Remember that everyone is on a separate journey with different timelines. Social media is the measurement stick that we sometimes use to gauge whether we have made it in this time of our lives. And as if social media is not enough, we have regular media that glorifies life in the teens and the 20s. When we're completely surrounded by it, we forget sometimes that we are at an age where capitalism and ageism is at its peak. And so I'm here to tell you that while it may not feel like it, and there are going to be days where you're wondering what the meaning of life is, what your purpose is, if you're doing what you're meant to be doing, that it is okay to not have everything figured out right this second. Your life's purpose right now will change, as will your values and what you want in your life. It's okay to be lost right now, because that's how you find yourself.